we can't let you go because you obviously run a show called Real Kipper and Bourne with the Leafs Hour. Obviously, Sammy's like very passionate. I would say he's been passionate about this all season. So is Nick. Mitch Marner. The whole situation right now. I like you guys have obviously debated like what he's worth and stuff. But if the Leafs were to sign him tomorrow to a contract that is 8 by 13 or 8 by 13.5, are you thinking that this team is going to win the Stanley Cup, or is it over?
Yeah, God, man, this one kills me. You know, it's like that's like kind of the exact number where it's like with Marner, it's always felt like he's just need to wring that extra 2% out of them, where it's just like it's not helping us. Like, yeah, maybe he's worth it, but it's just not helping. And your problems are
Yeah.
kind of the same. It's at that point you would have to know, like, are you then trading Nylander? And not bringing back Tavares? Like, you would have to do. You cannot bring back the same hockey team. Like,
No, you can't.
You can't, and not even the same team. You can't bring back all the core guys, and just being without Tavares is not the answer either. So, if you bring him back, you'd have to tell me you're trading Nylander at that point. Which listen, fine. Just something's got to happen here. Something's got to give. Mitch's contract happens to be up, but I think he'll end up taking 12 million somewhere else. And the end of the day, the Leafs end up having to kind of figure out how to do it from there. And if it is bet on guys like Bennett and Marchand and hope they want to come to Toronto, they may have to throw some dollars at them. So I wish I know more info than anyone else. It's just like,
Yeah.
I hope they have a good offseason because they need one, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Like they desperately need one. Obviously, we know that Brad Treliving wants to change the DNA. We're gonna see what his DNA is made of this offseason as well.
Right.
It's an offseason that's just gonna be. It can be disastrous, or it can look like they won the offseason.
By July 4th, we have a show the day or two after free agency, and I'm sure we'll have a full conclusion on whether they're going to win the cup or not.
Yeah, like
oh man,
it's either going to be you take Marner's money that you would have used on him and I guess liquidate that into multiple players to make a more balanced attack up front, or you go and you sink the money into Marner. And I have one last question.
Yeah.
For a team like for Marner, this is like I've said this to a couple like Leafs fans because I'm a Habs fan. I grew up on the East Coast. This feels like the weirdest UFA in the history of any sport that I've ever seen. For the reason of this is a top 20 player in the league at his best. He is like undoubtedly makes your team better. And we're heading into an offseason where he's becoming an UFA. And usually for every other sport, we saw that with Kevin Durant when he left, every single person in OKC wanted to pitch him to stay at that moment in time. And instead with Marner, everyone wants him out of town. Is this like the weirdest thing for like the biggest UFA possibly to hit the market since Tavares?
Yeah, it's funny when you look for like NHL comparables, people are like, well, Artemi Panarin went to market. And it's like, yeah that's not Artemi. He wasn't winning Selkies here. He wasn't up there. And, you try to think of the other big names. It is pretty unheard of for a guy at this point in his career. And to also have the team be like, we're not really sure if we want him either. I wonder how much that permeates other teams. Like, guys, they're not watching Marner in the playoffs. They know what's happened. So are they having the same conversation? Hey, are we sure? We're Anaheim. Are we sure we want to do 14 for a guy who doesn't get points late in series? Or, I'm sure those conversations are happening too. So I'm curious to see his priorities. I think we're going to find out what he values by what he does on July 1st.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting
100%.
offseason. Boy, it'd be weird to see Brad Marchand in blue and white too. If that ends up happening, just to be an interesting offseason nonetheless for this team.
Feels like it's going to happen. I feel it, not Bennett, but I think it's going to be Marchand.
Lock it in.
Let's go.
He said he would.
Let's see it.
He said he was open to anyone. Whoever's willing to pay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Money.